considered to be of greater influence. Mas malapit ka dun eh, online kayo. Hence, the badges that we designed follows a certain strategy called the behavior change model, which is, I mean, the pandemic is over, but this is essentially what we still want. Na parang, if I have a student who's not performing well, can I in some way change his behavior so that he mimics the behavior of an A student? Then perhaps he can get A grades. And so how to do it exactly is to understand na sorry. This is not new. What we designed is not new. It's just building on the parang standing on the shoulders of giants and building on previous work, particularly by these two amazing guys, James Clear, author of Atomic Habits, who described the outcomes process identity framework, and Eric Greitens, author of Resilience, that describes the same thing, iba lang yung tawag niya. He called it identity first, behavior next, feelings last. And here's an example of a badge. We'll not go through all of them. Example lang, para you know how to design and to measure the effect of the badge or the mechanics that you design. We settled for badges. I know that there is a debate regarding intrinsic and extrinsic motivators, and badges daw kasi are extrinsically motivating. But, and of course, ideally, we want intrinsic motivation to happen. We want students to be motivated. Gusto ko lang talaga siyang gawin. Gusto ko lang mag-code. Shit, gusto ko mag-code. Ganun lang yung, we want that kind of feeling activated in our students. But we also recognize that designing intrinsically motivating things is weird para sa mga hindi initiated to the idea. And so whenever you have something that's a little bit very complicated, it will not be received well, even if it's good, diba? So we settled for badges because it's familiar. Parang, badge, gamification. Alam ko badge. If we are to create these complicated systems, we run the risk of being ignored because it's too advanced that it's already obsolete. So anti-fragility is the ability to thrive as a result of mistakes or failures. And during the pandemic, ito talaga, grabe. I had students who, alam mo yung student na alam kong magaling siya, pero during the first low grade that he gets, wala na, snowball to F for the rest of the semester. Teachers among you, have you experienced that? Meron kayong magaling na student, meron kayong magaling na team member, very punctual, very on time, does not miss a day. Output is very nice consistently. Pero the first time that he gets a low grade in a particular assessment, nag-snowball na siya into oblivion. And so we designed this mechanic, this badge, to communicate anti-fragility, which is the ability to thrive as a result of mistakes or failure, or simply put, bounce back from an unsatisfactory submission. And hopefully, this badge, we said, prevents the possibility of losing motivation after missing to do well on a certain requirement or activity. And we tried testing this. We tried submitting it for publication. It got published. We created a low-fidelity prototype of a gamified tracker. And we used this to house the performance of the students and give them the appropriate badges when they are able to unlock them. During the testing, where we gave them questionnaires asking how it was, 74% or 23 out of 31 students, so that's one class, said that the anti-fragility badge was a motivator to keep trying to code a solution. Programming class po kasi to, towards full points, and that it was helpful in letting them cope with and or bounce back from an incorrect submission. That's very nice kasi cope, sometimes there are things that are not obvious to our students but are obvious to us. Parang obvious to me na if you don't do well in quiz 3, then do well on quiz 4. That's my expectation. But for some students, alam nyo, it's funny. If they don't do well on quiz 3, I failed the whole class. That's their feeling. Some students communicate that. So it is, I think, our job as educators to be very clear about our expectations. We want them to have an idea of what they can do to rectify their performance. For more information, this was shared as a post. So link ulit dito. When the slides get shared, you should have access to all the mechanics that we've designed. And siguro if you're very interested, na parang, gamification ang galing. You might want to follow us kasi we're very keen on finding people who are like-minded. We are constantly improving our gamification systems. Actually, nung 2021, we were able to work with Samsung Research Institute to improve the administration and the conduct of the badge giving so that it's more catered to the audiences, to the students that we are trying to apply the gamification to. Yun. So what do we do now? The baton is passed. I think those are the frameworks that can guide you as you're creating your own gamification frameworks to apply to your classes. But here are some ideas to get you started. These ideas are um, very, very new. So parang if there's a what do I mean by this? Here are some ideas to get you started. It essentially means if I were to write a paper now and I will want to do something, some kind of research, or if I will handle a class next sem, what will I do? Here it is, shared to you. Yan na. And uh, sharing this to you for free kasi nga the endeavor is to attract like-minded people. If some of these ideas resonate with you and you want to partner up, gawin natin. Enjoy to promise. So what I like to do when coming up with new ideas is to try to matrix the models together and see if there are overlaps that I can take leverage or take advantage of. So in the leftmost column, you can see Conrad's model that makes hobbies more interesting than work. You have the octalysis and the human drives. You have Siphias and the badges that we created. And looking at those three columns, here are some gamification ideas. So if we're talking about clearly defined goals and geared towards development and accomplishment, that's octalysis, then perhaps we can turn the syllabus into some sort of RPG skill tree. Right now, the syllabus is like a list of things that you need to understand. But perhaps it could be coded in such a way na hindi siya listahan. It's really a branching out of the skills, and we can map the skills that are needed to unlock advanced skills later on and show it on a profile. That would be so cool. Um, what else? Students reward cards. We tried we tried doing this very early 2012. The main idea is merong card sana yung mga students. And then whenever they do well on a quiz, they just swipe the card and register the points. And then when they collect, say for instance, 100 points, siguro just coordinate with your local cafeteria na, uy, kapag 100 points, please give the students 1 cup of coffee. Yun. So in-game rewards translate to real life rewards. It's a very interesting concept. Students should be allowed multiple attempts to solve the problems and controversial kasi nga there are Socratic purists, di ba? Who believe in the Socratic way of teaching, which valid kasi it has been the foundation of all our knowledge since the beginning of time. So perhaps we can give them multiple attempts, and I'll give you examples later on. Let me just list them down muna, talk about them. How about higher degree of personal choice? Then maybe students must be able to pick and choose the activity that they want to do. So 40 students, 40 different answers. Yun. Especially now that we have AI. Yun ata yung maganda dito. Kasi if we're going for adaptive learning, dude, let's leverage the power of ChatGPT. I know that it's not gonna be as accurate as we want it to be, pero at least an initial feedback to 40 different answers, initial feedback, okay na. Pa? Students who should have informal access to both their classmates and their teachers. Yan. I'll give you examples na I think we just work with the examples. So we talked about an RPG style skill acquisition and documentation. I was once hired as a consultant for an institution last 2021, and this was particularly what they did. Na the institution was encouraged to create a skill tree version of their syllabi and really map what skills unlock more advanced skills. A profile should be kept so students can see skills other students have unlocked. And my dream for this really, if there is any, is that it's easier to get uh, you as a student matched with 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 the companies that could hire you. Because if you have a resume, say for instance, perhaps the grades could be turned into some kind of skill tree that can be used to see if you are a good fit for the company. Higher fidelity trackers siguro. We started with the low fidelity tracker, but um, there's a need for higher fidelity trackers. Ito sa spreadsheet lang namin ginawa because we wanted to really have some kind of control over the formulas that go into the awarding of the badges. But I think it's high time to create a space in the virtual world, a digital space to house profiles for students, not just for one class, but for the whole school and a group of schools, and we'll figure it out. Pero that's one idea. Another idea is multiple attempts. Right now, I'm actually using a service called Hacker Earth. And you're free to join. We have a problem set that's opened for the whole SEM for students. Yes, the mic thing again. I think I am I have maxed out the volume from my end. Pero yeah, siguro siguro I can just proceed and let's try to figure out how we can help you post process it. So ito, the goal of the problem set is really for it to be open for the whole semester so that students have unlimited attempts to solve the problems and they can discuss and give each other pointers on how to attempt the problem. And for me, I particularly like this style because uh, if you can look at the submission attempts on the left, that for me is true learning. That is the indicator of true learning. So the student attempted 4 times, tapos mali, yung isa compile error pa, and then had a partially correct answer. And then namali siya, partially correct, and then afterwards correct. You can't really have this in the legacy quizzes that we give na, oh, 5 items, okay, check, 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 okay, tapos na. You know how to program? Hindi naman eh. So I think if you can leverage these types of technologies so that you can give your students multiple attempts at solving the problems, I think that's where real learning is taking place at the moment. Quest board, sorry, I wasn't able to edit the description, but this is the quest board idea so that you have multiple tasks that are guided by rubrics to make sure that they are of the same standard. So I gave classes the ability to choose what tasks they will do, but again, the manual checking is very tedious. Parang I admit that this was more than I could chew. So if there is a way again to leverage some of the AI technologies that we currently have, just to give an initial feedback, and for siguro if there's a way to summarize all of these different submissions into one, that would be great. Flat organizations, um, flat organizations just mean that I have access to my superiors anytime, and I have access to the team that I'm managing anytime as well. So flat, hindi siya hierarchical. Flat organizations allow for the correction of misconceptions and asking for help in real time. My time investment lang to. Very ideal, but there's a time investment. Jen and I are discovering that if we have a SEM where we're going for the flat organization structure, pagod kami. And the reason for that is you're technically online 24/7. But we, again, there are modest feedback that tells us na this is something to explore. Di lang natin nakukuha ang patama in terms of resources. And by resources, I mean energy, time, and commitment from me as the instructor. Pero may something dito eh. Di lang namin nakukuha ang patama. And it's important na in this world of IP, the conversation you have, data privacy, the conversation you have must be seen by everyone. And this human-centered design component. There were researchers in um MU, um Doctor Who, sorry, Memphis University. There are researchers in Memphis University who, in one of their research endeavors, created an agent. So parang isang person inside the game. And then what it's doing is it's being taught by the teacher. So my virtual teacher, my virtual student, ang ginagawa si teacher, tinuturuan yung student. And then the students, the real students are being made to watch the interaction between the teacher and the students. And lo and behold, the concepts that they want the student to learn is actually being learned. Ang galing, no? So parang ano siya, parang indirect learning, which is mimicked by this. If you have a student who is asking you questions and you clarify it and the clarification is seen by everyone, then it's indirect learning for all. There are some organizations that are also doing this. Actually, idol ko tong organization that nito, pero they don't know me. Pero it's okay, 'di ba? I'm a fan. That's one of the nice things about being a fan. They had this on their website, which I think was really nice. Hang out with our founders, literally. Ask them questions, join our Discord, send a chat. We will answer. So nice. Um, Hindi to flat organization. This was really feedback in real time. I once handled a thesis group, and their execution was to literally use the notification system of the phone. Very nice. In administering interval learning. So parang ang ano nito, the gist of this endeavor or this technique is there's something called spaced learning, and it's something that's saying if you space out the learning process, then the information sticks to you better. So kaya nga at the moment meron tayo nung mga, if you've ever wondered na why can't I just have one class one day? And or why can't I have just one class for one day of the month, pero 8 hours? 'Di ba? Sulit yun. I only have to go to school once a month. But that's not the case because science is telling us, well, aside from logistical concerns, science is telling us spaced learning works. If you revisit a concept in set intervals, mas tumatatak sa ulo nyo. And this is what the group was going for. At every 4 hours interval, some kind of question gets shot to your phone and you just have to answer multiple choice lang. Answer. And then you are reviewing on the fly. Yeah, kumakain ka sa McDo. May question. Letter C. Okay. Nasa taxi ka. May question. D. Mali. Okay, alam ko na. So it was very nice. And these are just ideas. So, um, yeah, I think that's it for the gist of my slides. There's still a very quick demonstration of widget one, which we hope you will use in your classes. But again, I think if you need if you need to go, I think this is the checkpoint where you can take your graceful leave. And gusto ko lang magpasalamat for the attention that you have been giving me. But in case you have ideas that you want to share and you want like live feedback, perhaps we can devote a little bit of time. There are people, sorry, nakita ko kasi itong chat ni Daryl, and sorry Daryl, but you were thinking of using this in your thesis. Gusto mo bang pag-usapan yung idea mo for thesis? Perhaps I can give feedback. Or other people, the virtual floor is open. LMS say for teachers. How exactly, Daryl? Sorry, I'm not sure if the privileges to open mic are set. Pero if you can open your mic, I would I would love it if you can talk a little bit about your idea. Parang hindi. Okay, okay. Sige. So, if that's the case, no open mic option. Oh, okay, okay, okay. Sige. Okay lang. So, kung walang ganong option, Daryl, ano naman we will give, we publish our email addresses at the end of the slide set. So if you want to talk about it, okay, okay
Narinig
lang.
ko po.
Ayan, yes. Hi,
Ah,
Daryl.
Hi, good morning.
Good
Yeah.
morning.
Bale meron kasi akong ano, I'm taking my MPA ngayon, Masters in Public Administration, and
Nice.
since I work for DepEd, Calabarzon, na dito ako naka-assign ngayon. I'm thinking of creating LMS for teachers since this is part of the learning recovery plan of the government. Para ito yung one of our small steps in order to address yung ano natin,
Nice.
enhancing yung mga skill sets ng mga teachers natin, na talking about hindi naman yung mga sa classroom, yung mga subjects stuff, but more on the soft skills, if I may say. So
Yes.
parang gusto kong palakasin sa kanila. Kasi kumbaga meron ng LMS for ano yung mga subjects nila, for
Mm-mm.
science, math, and others. Hindi ko naman siya forte. So I'm giving it to DepEd Central kasi meron na sila noon. So what I'm trying to propose, the proposal that I have submitted dito sa baba is to create kayong LMS na parang, yeah, soft
Soft
skills,
skills.
talk about mga public speaking, or let's say yung mga financial management, something that they could use on a day-to-day basis, in real life ba? Parang ganon. So, tapos, so yun, just iniisip ko lamang how would I be able to integrate yung gamification, since parang ang ano ko sana ay parang to go outside of the box to
Mm-mm.
kind of lessons or parang courses. Yun lang po.
Yeah. Well, first, very noble goal. I think it's very interesting. It's a very interesting idea. It's also timely. It's also timely na um that soft skills are being trained kasi I'm not sure, uh, sorry Daryl, I'm not sure how long you have been involved in the educational sector, pero I personally am parang observing that there is a change in the
Mhm.
landscape in terms of the students' soft skills. Do you do you feel the same?
I'm talking about sa mga teachers, kasi parang
Mm-mm, mm-mm.
parang yung realization for us to empower the teachers came to me only when I heard about yung Southeast Asia PLM ba yun tawag dito? Iba sa it's a study
Yes.
about yung yung performances ng mga students natin sa parang 79 countries joined do sa studies, and unfortunately, pangalawa tayo sa dulo in terms of reading, writing,
Yep.
and academics.
Right.
Sobrang nakakadurog talaga ng puso.
Mm-mm.
Parang nakakaiyak talaga siyang isipin. Kasi parang, but kasi dati ang Vietnam was in this position. Parang sila ang
Yes.
sila sa nasa dulo. But what they did kasi, parang naging aggressive yung kanilang government and yung local communities nila to help out by, for example, nagkaroon sila na parang magkakaroon sila ng mga sessions in the afternoon after office hours.
Tama.
Nandun sila sa may kalye, nagtuturo sila ng English doon sa mga locals. So yung mga ganun, nag-ano sila, parang gumagawa sila ng mga initiatives sila. So I think all I'm saying is, this is my, ano siguro, just my little idea na parang
Mm-mm.
since nasa IT naman ako, and I think that doable naman ito, and at the same time hindi naman to gagastos, hindi naman to kakain ng ganong kalaking oras, at hindi rin naman to gagamit ng malaking financial resources sa gobyerno.
Yep.
I think maganda siyang very timely siya.
Yes,
So, so yun lang iniisip ko lang talaga.
yep, I agree, Daryl, 100%. Tapos, ang ano lang, I think while you were describing the idea, my my brain was fixated on what will be fun for the teachers who will participate in your
Yes,
ano yung idea nila ng fun. Kasi ano sorry, I learned this recently. They call it pala parang Musk's razor, na the most fun case is the most likely, na mauunang dapat fun muna siya bago
mm,
siya maging accepted. Now you can talk about outcomes. Kasi you can talk about outcomes. Gusto ko
mm,
yung Philippines mag-rank up. Pero if it's not fun to do it,
yes.
mahirap. Parang
Mm.
I would rather stay.
Yeah, and I can see yung potential na parang by doing this, parang mapopromote yung collaboration between amongst the students, among a group of students. Parang you could, for example, 40 teachers, for example,
Mm-mm,
may enroll mo sila sa LMS mo, sa learning management system, parang online course siya para din sa mga hindi pa nadidim to. Anyway,
mm-mm.
so 40 participants kunwari, enroll mo sila. Tapos parang alam mo yung parang pwede siyang Harry Potter type na parang okay, let's divide the group into four houses. The house of
Yes,
Gryffindor, house of Hufflepuff, and so on and so forth. So meron ng apat. So from there they might compete against each other. So parang yung competition and the collaboration will be promoted to maximize the outcome or the output, or and yung kanilang participation level will be ma-enhance din.
yes. Daryl, we did a similar study. Kung gusto mo, we also divided our students into houses dati, 2012.
Oh, that's
I
nice.
can send you that paper.
Yes, please do.
Pas
Please do.
pa Pero I need to know how to. Siguro you can just hindi.
PM.
I can, yes, in whatever way. Just
Yeah,
send me
sa Zoom.
how.
You can message you here sa Zoom.
Yes. Ganun na
Sure.
lang. Tapos isesend ko na lang sa email mo yung yung ginawa namin
Absolutely.
para
That would be love.
I think may maganda kaming methodology to analyze what we have logged and the logging kung ano yung ilalog.
Yeah, yeah, sure, sure. That would be lovely. So thank
Yes.
you for that.
Okay. Pero Daryl, very very noble idea. Very difficult too. Kaya medyo I think you will need, sorry, individual ba yung thesis? I think you will need a team.
Yeah, oo. Individual naman thesis, but since ang implementation naman nito ay sa DepEd mismo, sa regional office ng DepEd. So I have pool of people na parang whom I can utilize to to work on to work on the ideas.
Cool.
Kasi
Okay.
for example, let's say I need talents on someone who could talk about public speaking, for example, we could design ako based on the gamifications point of view, or no, principle, or procedure, whatever. So yun lang iniisip ko.
Yes. Very very cool. Pero I'm glad na basta hindi ka alone kasi parang
Yes,
ang laki niya. Ba,
yes,
para kakainin ka ng idea mo.
yes nga po, yun nga rin nakikita ko eh.
Pero thank you, Daryl. And sorry for putting you on the spot, pero I think it was a
Okay.
really good
uh,
talking point.
uh,
Isasend ko yung paper and kay Jovelyn din. Tama ba, Jovelyn? And kay Abigail. So, yes, we will, yeah, I will work with the organizers so that I can send you papers on the gamification attempts that we did. Salamat. All right.
Thanks for your sharing.
Salamat, Daryl. Thank you. And with that, dito na tayo sa, yan, this is what I'm saying, na parang, please stay in touch. We are looking for, again, like-minded people. And kahit hindi like-minded, parang, if you're interested in gamification, I think it's constantly kasi in in me and Jen's mind na parang we are very keen to understanding where this can go. If you need